The Chicago Bears are coming off an 11-win season, an NFC title, and a divisional playoff appearance as well, all in Ben Johnson's first year. But now ESPN is saying Chicago is one of the least improved teams in 2026 and could be in danger of taking a step back. So today, we're going to ask the real questions. Are the Chicago Bears being doubted, or are there legit concerns about the Chicago Bears, namely their defense? We're going to talk a little bit about that. But on the other side of things, the offense looks like it's ready to explode, and Colston Loveland says things are flowing much smoother than what they did last year, and why the Chicago Bears are set to be truly elite offensively in 2026. And lastly, we've heard a lot of people talk about Caleb Williams and his completion percentage, but we now heard from the man himself. We're going to talk about and react to Caleb Williams' comments on his own completion percentage and what that means. All that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, man. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers by the start of the 2026 season. It's I've set crazy goals for all my channels. 5,000 on NBA Central, 18,000 on Chicago Bulls Central before the start of the season. We're just trying to gain like 3,500 here before the start of the season. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Help us hit that goal. You guys are here anyway. About 45% of you guys that watch the show every single day have not hit that subscribe button yet. Hit that subscribe button. And if you're a lurker that's mad that you got in your feelings because you got cooked, but you still watch this every day, you might as well subscribe anyway. You're going to get cooked again. It don't matter. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And the ESPN, and we're in silly season, right? This period of time where you're between like OTAs, training camps, whatever, and preseason, like this whole stretch, you're gonna hear some legitimate things. I think the local coverage of the Chicago Bears is gonna get really good once training camp opens. You're gonna get daily updates and things like that, and that's a really good spot to be in. Before the national media people that don't pay enough attention to the days in and days out of the team, you're gonna start getting some silly ass articles in regards to the now. I'm not saying that this article from ESPN is necessarily silly or the statement from ESPN is necessarily silly, but I do think that it is something that it doesn't take the full context into consideration. And I'm going to talk about why, right? First, I want to get into it. ESPN's Aaron Schatz, if it's Schatz, then funny. It's, whatever there. He believes that the Bears are one of the 5 least improved teams in 2026 and could take a step back, mostly because of the defense, but it does expect an improved offense, which we'll get on. But he says this: the Bears had a poor defense last season and check a lot of boxes that suggest it will get even worse in 2026. Much better on third down than first or second down, likely to get worse. Led the league in turnovers per drive, likely to get worse. Lost talent in the offseason, including both starting centers, one of whom, Kevin Byard, was first-team All-Pro, likely to get worse. And he left it at that. Okay, listen, I'm going to be a little bit petty on this one. For those that don't like cursing in their sports coverage, you may want to plug your ears. You may want to go and fast forward and scrub a little bit through, because I curse, and I don't apologize for it. And when I see silly and stupid shit, I call out silly and stupid shit. First off, motherfucker. All right, this is the first thing. I get it that, like, legitimately saying we lost Kevin Byard, we lost Jaquan Brisker is legitimate, right? Like, there you go. Talk about led the leagues in turnovers, likely to get worse. Yeah, you're probably not going to lead the league in turnovers 2 years in a row. But you stupid son of a bitch. The fact that you completely, in your article, missed the fact that we didn't have our projected starting cornerback rotation for the entirety of the motherfucking year. Did you miss that part of it? Did you miss the part where Jalen Johnson barely played, and even when he did play was still hurt? Did you miss the fact that one of the best nickel corners in the league in Kyler Gordon was also injured for the majority season, and when he did play, he was still hurt? Did you miss that shit, dumbass? Did you miss that? Did you miss the fact of how important cornerbacks and the secondary is to Ben Johnson's system? Did you miss that? Did you miss the fact where our linebackers were banged up for the entirety of the year? Did you miss that? Like, I get it. There's a legitimate concern here with the Chicago Bears and the Bears pass rush. It's legitimate. There's a question there. We got to see. We talked about that a lot Austin Booker, Javon Dexter, looking at Jordan Vandenberg, hoping that Dayo Odunze's motivated ass is going to get you something. That's a legitimate concern. But when you talk out all the things that are supposed to get worse for the Chicago Bears and you don't stop to objectively talk about the fact that the Bears were missing so much of their projected starting rotation on the defense for so long last season, this is where it seems targeted. This is where it seems like you're trying to get rage bait, and here I am getting pissed off from Bears fans. But it's like, this is the problem with the national media. And this is why people don't take national media serious anymore. And this is part of the reason why outlets like me, the Windy City Breeze, shout out to Swifty over there, right? That's why these outlets are important to have, because what do? We add color and context to shit. It's crazy as hell when you see so many national media that shouldn't have to use clickbait-ass bullshit rely on clickbait-ass bullshit. And I hope somebody clips this and Shats or whatever the fuck his dumb shitty-ass name is, tag that motherfucker in it, because people need to see shit like this. When you are supposed to be media, and for some people, a large segment of sports watchers, when they look at ESPN and they think that that's the coverage that they're supposed to get because of the size of ESPN, and you implore and have dumbass, and no offense, Pat is employed by ESPN, but we know Pat is, guess what? He's employed by ESPN Chicago, local media. It's these national fucking dumbasses that don't understand the ins and outs and can't have a constructive and cogent conversation to save their motherfucking lives. It's silly, it's sad, it's stupid, and it's downright disrespectful. How are you supposed to be covering teams at a national level? And even if you did want to say, hey, I think the Bears could take a step back, but then you talk about all these things with the Bears that are likely to get worse, and you don't mention at all how we could get better. You don't mention the fact that we added more speed with Devin Bush and Keyshawn Elliott. You didn't mention that we added more depth to our linebacking core, even because it was hurt with even bringing back Jack Sanborn as well and re-signing DeMarco Jackson. You don't mention that part of it. You don't mention that hopefully we have a healthy cornerback crew as well, and we brought in somebody to actually push Tyreek Stevenson and Malik Muhammad. Oh, and Terrell Smith also didn't check into a single game last year. You don't talk about that. You don't even talk about the fact that even when you say that Dayo Odunze did have a very disappointing season last year, but you don't look at the fact that he even tore his Achilles. Like, it's that type of bullshit that's mentioned by people that's supposed to be the know-it-all. That's why when people are like, well, the national media is talking about, I don't give a flying fuck anymore, because the national media is full of dumbasses who like to use clickbait-ass bullshit, who don't have a bit of integrity to save their motherfucking lives, and that rely on the same type of shit that you expect from just upstart content creators that rely on clickbait bullshit. That's what the fuck you're doing. It's stupid. It's silly. It's downright disrespectful, and it makes the national media look like a bunch of fucking idiots. That's what it makes it look like. So, yeah, we are missing players in Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, and Sean Wright, who were very important to what the Chicago Bears did. But coming into the season, do we expect Nashawn Wright to be a big part of that? No. You know why? Because we expected Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon to be there. When we had to sign C.J. Garner-Johnson in the middle of the season to come in because we were missing so many guys, you know what that is? That's because of the injuries that are there. I hate when people can't contextualize the argument that they want to have, and they end up just making it look like fucking stupidity, right? So am I saying that the Bears are all of a sudden have a juggernaut defense? No. Even Bears fans have a concern about how good this defense can be in 2026, and that's legitimate. It's fair, and it's cool to have that. But when you miss out a whole part of it and just focus on, the league in turnovers, we're going to get worse. We let Kevin Byard go, we're going to get worse. They're much better on third down, first or second down. It's likely to get worse. Where are the areas that we can improve on? Health is going to be such a big part of it. And we know now, because we actually cover this team from day to day, that how important the cornerbacks and the defensive backs are to Dennis Allen. And, oh, by the way, you mentioned the loss of Kevin Byard, but you didn't mention that we drafted the best safety in the draft, or potentially the best safety in the draft, in Dylan Thineman. You didn't mention that we added a Super Bowl winning safety in Kobe Bryant. You couldn't mention that in the fact of talking about us losing Kevin Byard, who, played great for us. I don't want to knock Kevin Byard at all, but we got younger, we got faster, we got more athletic. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. It's this type of level of stupidity of why I when I say that the national media, like people who if you still go to the national media for your sports coverage, I truly feel sorry for you, because it's not for you, the person. It's because you don't get honest anything at all. Yes, the defense has to improve. There is no doubt about that. And we have Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, TJ Edwards, all returning, being healthier, and what that means for the team. Kobe Bryant and Dylan Thineman give the Chicago Bears defense more secondary and athleticism in that secondary, right? Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we talking about here, bro? We can't live on takeaways alone anymore, and we all know that. But if you don't see that the Bears have at least made some strides to not just live off takeaways, you're stupid, and you don't need to be talking about the Chicago Bears, period. All right, with that said, sorry, I just, you know what it is, and this is the thing where, and my bad, I should have gave you the disclaimer. That wasn't sports broadcaster Haize. That was Chicago Bears fan Haize right then that you just heard, because I'm tired of the silly and stupid shit. I'm tired of it. I can't wait till we get on the fucking football field, to be 100% honest with you, because I'm tired of the bullshit that constantly gets thrown at my squad and at my team. Like, fuck y'all, man. Anyway, let's talk about the offense, right? Colston Loveland had a great comment in regards to the offense. Sports broadcaster back on. And I want to get into this quote from Colston Loveland, who said this: "Just more completions and you're seeing everyone's in the right spot. Things are just flowing a little smoother. Obviously, you're seeing there's a lot to clean up and still a lot to get better at, which is exciting news because it's always a good thing when you have more to get and more to do." So here's the thing: we have said it many times here. You guys have talked about it. We've talked about it. The Chicago Bears offense really does seem like it's ready to explode. And the success that we had with this offense in the first year of Ben Johnson was great. When you look at the number of categories that we finished in the top 10 in points per game, even despite some of the late heroics that we had to have. We were 9th in points per game at 25.7. We were 3rd in rushing yards per game at 142.3. We were 8th in passing yards per game at 233. We were 9th in yards per play at 5.7. We were 5th in third down conversion rate at 43.7, right? And when you see the number of young players that had to emerge for us to get there, the Colston Lovelands, the Luther Burdens, the Monangai, right? And naturally, those players, there's a natural and I think a fair expectation for those guys to improve in their second years in the league, because they are building off of what they did last year, and now they have a better understanding of the offense. Ben Johnson is going to trust them to start off the season, which they had to earn his trust last year. They're starting off to be trusted this year. And I think despite the first year under Ben Johnson, where everybody said that there were so many kind of wrinkles in the Ben Johnson's offense that it was a lot to take in and learn, in that playbook. And so now that they're coming into the second year of that, and it seems like they've naturally so far in mini camps, OTAs, and training camps, well, training camp hasn't started so far, that we've naturally kind of made that next kind of step in our evolution of just understanding of the playbook. Yeah, you got other young players you're going to have to incorporate into that. Xavier Thomas, if he's ready. Khalif Raymond has pretty much been in Ben Johnson's offense. You're not expecting that, but the changes on the offensive line with Drew Dahlman being gone, Ozzie Trapillo being hurt, right? Like, so that there's also things in this that could be a bit of a learning curve again for the Chicago Bears, but this offense is really set to take off this year. And Ben Johnson, I had a very kind of long rant yesterday in all the different looks that Ben Johnson could throw out there with the offense this year. And that's legitimate, man. I think that, finishing in the top 10 of where we did is great. And also Caleb Williams now having a better understanding and grasp of that offense is that, the exciting part is that with the Bears finishing in top 10 in as many categories as what they did, we know that we still have things to clean up. The drops we have to clean up. The completion percentage, which we're going to get into, are things that we have to clean up, right? And so if we actually clean those things up, then how dangerous can this offense really be? And I think one of the biggest questions that we have to ask ourselves, more than just the general, the Bears going to be elite offense this year, is how elite can they be? Can this be a top 5 offense in the league this year? I think that's a legitimate case to be made that they can be. I'm not going to say that you come into this and automatically say that they will be based off last season, but there is the potential for this team to absolutely be a top 5 offense this year. And if you're able to achieve that, what does that mean for your long-term goals, right? And, like I've said, in the last conversation with the defense is a concern, make no mistake about it, but there does seem to be, especially if we have better health, a natural kind of improvement that this defense can make from being one of the bottom defenses to hopefully towards more of the middle pack. I've said it, like, if the defense can be 14th to 16th in the league, which is right in the middle, right? That's the area in the middle. If you can be in that this season with what our offense is expected to be at, you're probably one of the best teams in football easily if that ends up being the case, right? So I know Ben Johnson has said that he doesn't want to word it as we're building off of what we did last year, and I always try to pay respect to that, but you're trying to take it a step further. And, already hearing that, like, they're adding to Colston Loveland's route tree, that they're adding more into the playbook, right? That they're throwing a lot on Xavier Thomas. And, we had Caleb Williams with a quote from him yesterday saying that, if as long as Xavier's able to grasp this offense, he's going to be a weapon for us next year, this upcoming season. And that's all really good things. So the question that I want to leave off in this segment is asking is, like, can the Bears truly become one of the NFL's most dangerous offensive units next year? I think that the bones is there. And we haven't even really talked about how we can take the running game a step further. This is one of the best running games in football, and Kyle Monangai was a rookie who also wasn't trusted very early on in the season. And so I think if you have those things there, like there's a huge case to be made that this offense can take the next necessary step. We just got to see where it's going to go. But a big part of that step is the completion percentage. I was in the conversation with somebody in the comment section the other day, and they're like, why does completion percentage matter? Why are we talking about completion percentage? And, we had a fair conversation. I was like, well, when your coach brings up the completion percentage, and, it's not just, have some people that try to blame the completion percentage just on drops. No, it was a combination of drops and Caleb Williams over and under throws. It was both those things that played a part into that. And, you have the conversation. We've heard Ben Johnson's comments on it. We've heard, comments from people like me and other people. But we have now Caleb Williams' own comments on his completion percentage. And I want to get into that. And the reason why I like stuff like this is because I think that the thing that I always like to do in every sport that I cover is I like to hold players and coaches accountable to what they say they want for themselves, right? Us as fans can have expectations. Coaches can have expectations. The media can have expectations. But what a player says about their expectations for themselves means a lot to me, because that gives you something that you can hold them to that isn't from an outside source. It's from them internally and what they want for their career. Caleb Williams said this. It's just get the completion percentage up. Keep the offense on the field more, score as many points as possible, be the highest scoring offense, because that's my part in the team. Going out there and orchestrating it and being able to go out there and score, whether it's handoffs or passes, whether that doesn't matter. It's just being able to put up as many points as possible to help our team win as many games as possible, and then keeping the turnovers very low. That's one of the biggest things, right? Is how do you up your scoring while keeping the turnovers low? Caleb Williams upped his yards per pass. He upped his overall yardage on the season. He upped his touchdowns, while his interceptions only rose one interception from his rookie year from 6 to 7 in his second year, which is really solid, right? That's a really good way. Now, the completion percentage dropped, and that goes down to the efficiency, especially with the Bears now wanting to play and perform as a more up-tempo offense. The execution on that has to be sound, right? So the 3,942 yards and 27 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions that he passed is really good. But Caleb's focus has been about improving the efficiency. Ben Johnson set a goal of 70%. Now that puts him in the elite of the elite category, and I don't know if he's going to hit that. But I do think if Caleb moves more towards the mid-60s, that's the sign of this offense truly becoming elite when it comes down to it. Caleb has to fix the layups. We understand that he can make the big plays, that he can make the eye-popping plays with his arms. This Bears team as a whole has to be better at taking the layups, the gimmies, as I've called them. And if they do that, this is a team that truly can make that step to being elite this season. I have no ifs, ands, doubts about it. They can be elite this season if they do those things. And that comes down to Ben Johnson's coaching and preparation. It comes down to this team taking it seriously on how they need to get better in their communication and chemistry together as well. All those things matter in a case like this for a team that's trying to improve where they were last season and get better on that. And they can do that. This team can do that. There's no doubt in my mind that this Chicago Bears team can be elite this season. But it all starts with Caleb Williams. It all starts with Caleb. That's the end-all, be-all. That is the de facto. That is where this goes. It starts with that. And if Caleb Williams can do that, great. Great. If Caleb Williams can do that, great. And Ben Johnson's definitely going to push them to get that done. He's definitely going to push them to be able to get in that area and get and improve as an offense. Because, like I said before, if I know anything about Ben Johnson for what I've learned the last few years, this dude is licking his chops at all the different weapons and looks that he's going to be able to throw out there with this offense. And we're going to get to see it and have a lot of fun with it. So let me know what you guys think in regards to that, man, down below, and this team and how all of this plays. And what do you think about Caleb Williams' comments on his completion percentage? Last time before we get out of there, the Darnell Wright contract extension keeps being a talking point, which makes me start to believe that the extension is coming soon, very soon. Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune said this. An extension before training camp begins is possible, but that may be a little early. If I were looking at the timeline for a potential deal, I'd probably target week 1 and not late July. Sure, both sides would like to get a deal done, but these things take time, and I have to imagine Wright is hunting a massive contract. There's no doubt that Darnell Wright is going to get a huge extension from the Chicago Bears, and it's an extension that has been earned through the way that he has performed through the different stages that this offensive line has took since he's been here with the Chicago Bears. Last season was his best season yet. He was second-team All-Pro. He appeared in 16 games in regards to it as well, and he ranked 9th among tackles and offensive snaps played with 1,074, right? He wasn't only a player that was also available in most of the games, he was effective in all of it. He allowed only 19 total pressures, while allowing only 3 sacks and 3 QB hits, according to Pro Football Focus. Wright finished with an 81.4 overall grade, which is 14th among 89 graded tackles. He had a pass blocking grade of 74.3, which is 29th among 89 graded tackles, and an 85.6 run blocking grade, which was 6th among the 89th graded tackles. What does that mean? Darnell Wright has already established himself as one of the best tackles in the game of football. You're going to keep a guy like that. The Bears are not going to let a guy like that. Now, Brad Biggs also says that he expects Darnell Wright's contract to start at around $25 million per season. When you look at Tristan Wirfs of the Bucks, the highest right tackle in the NFL, he makes $28.1 million per season. Penny Sewell of the Lions makes $28 million per season as well, and Lane Johnson of the Eagles makes $25 million per season. So $25 million per season seems like a really good starting point from Darnell Wright, and that's probably where they're going to settle in right now. So I think when it comes down to it is that the Bears want to get this contract done as soon as possible. The longer that you wait, especially if you allow any part of the season gets, the higher the contract could become as well. And we know that the Bears are trying to get some flexibility next year also. So Darnell Wright's contract is coming. He's going to be one of the best and highest paid tackles in the game of football, and he has earned it. And personally for me, when somebody that you draft has earned it through their play, through their performance, and through their continued development, you pay them and you don't worry, and you worry about the rest. You let the rest sort itself out later. And that's going to be the job of this team to kind of figure that all out. But that's going to do it for me for today, y'all. I appreciate you guys so much tuning in. Thank you for sticking with me through my passion and rant at the beginning. I just get tired of the dumb shit around our Chicago Bears sometimes. But it's all going to be out there on the field soon. And like I said, if the Bears prove it on the football field, all that doubt, all that hate, right, it becomes about now, all right, what do you got to say now for proving it on the football field? So we'll see. The Chicago Bears undoubtedly have the offensive firepower. They have the quarterback. They have that type of stuff. They have the head coach. They have the young weapons for this offense to be elite. But there are legitimate questions about this defense, even despite my rant. And the question becomes about how many of those defensive questions get answered by better health on this team and the new signings that we've had also this offseason. So I want to hear from you guys on it. How do you feel about ESPN saying that the Bears have not improved in 2026? Where do you think the offense can rank in 2026 as well? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.